Hello, everybody, and welcome to my guide on how to solo Astellarn, who is the first boss of Elite Dungeons 2, also known as the Dragonkin Laboratory. The very eerie and scary Elite Dungeon with lots of dragons and a kick-ass soundtrack. So just full disclosure, I'm actually not a great PvMer. I don't do that well with boss mechanics, and what you're about to watch is actually my second kill of Astellarn. So I wanted to make a video just to show that it is doable even if you're not that experienced. I'm going to let the skill play through in the background while I kind of explain things, and then I'll play it again and explain the mechanics in more detail. Now, if it's your first time or you're not that used to Astellarn, he is quite difficult because Astellarn is kind of a bastard boss. There's not a much nicer way to put it, in that most of his mechanics are guaranteed hits that you just kind of have to tank or eat or otherwise deal with. On the flip side, he has what you're seeing right now, which is this white wormhole mechanic, where if you dodge it and if you make use of it, you can actually deal a lot more damage to him than you could otherwise. So the best strategy for Astellarn is to just DPS and kill him as fast as possible. I will have videos on the other Elite Dungeon 2 bosses, and you'll see that they take a lot longer. Astellarn is actually done in about 2.5 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty good for the amount of health he has. So, to start off, I'm just using a Noxious Longbow, and I'm using Dragonbane arrows. I've heard Araxite arrows might actually be better, but Dragonbane does pretty well since he's a dragon. I am also using a few tricks to my advantage here that you may not have. I'm actually on a Dragon's Slayer task, and I also have the Genocidal perk, and you can see there that I'm at 4% of a damage boost because I'm partway through my task, so definitely factored in here. I'm also using a Ripper Demon, and I have it using its special attack scrolls as often as possible because I wanted to kill this guy as fast as possible. So those are a few advantages that are noteworthy. Otherwise, my gear is pretty basic. I actually run Elite Robin Hood, the tier 82 range armors, so nothing too special there. And as you can see, my PvMing setup here is pretty cheap and basic. I have a Holy Overload and a bunch of sharks and super restores, so nothing very fancy. You don't need that much to get by, and I'll show you why. Oh, actually, right there you can see I actually just died, but my defense cape saved me. So, like I said, not that good of a PvMer, but this video is to show you what to do by example and what not to do also by example. So, let's get into his mechanics. So, as far as auto attacks, Astellarn will use melee and magic. It is advisable to stay in melee range, even if you're ranging like I am, because his magic attack is actually a guaranteed hit. It has 100% accuracy and it hits hard up to around 4,000 if you're not protecting against magic. Even in melee range, you can see he still prefers his magic attack, so this is what I mean by he's a bastard boss. You just have to tank a lot of these hits. You can see him taking a lot of damage there. The first mechanic you will see is the Pulsar here. When it appears, destroy it as fast as you can. The Pulsar will periodically hit you for about 700, 800 damage. I think every 15 seconds or so. I wasn't counting. You can look it up on the wiki. But either way, it has 20,000 HP. It is to your benefit to kill them as soon as they pop up, every time they pop up. Hopefully, if you get a pretty quick kill in, you won't summon too many, but when he does, just know to destroy them immediately. The next mechanic is where you see this blue little status bar or action bar pop up below your character. Once that fills up, he will summon a black hole where your character is standing. Once that happens, you'll want to move out of there as quickly as possible because every tick or so, he will deal damage in the 500s, if I remember right. Now, there is a way to leverage this black hole to your advantage because he will summon a dwarf star or dawn star, whatever, that thing that's floating around towards you. And you'll see that if it hits you, you'll take a lot of damage, about 4,000 or so. And then you'll be at a bit major disadvantage the rest of the fight, and I'll explain why. So if you can lure the star into his black hole, it'll turn into this white hole. And now, if you stand there, you'll notice by the whole skybox changing, you can deal enhanced damage to Astalorn, so you can deal a lot more damage than you would before. This will speed up your kill a lot. If you do not do this, if you get hit by that little star and it hits you for, not only will you take a lot of damage, but you'll miss this opportunity to turn that black hole into a white hole, and you'll actually deal very reduced damage. It'll be difficult for you to deal anything above 1,000 damage to him, which will slow down your kill quite a bit. The third mechanic you've seen already here in this video because it happens very, very quickly. You'll see these like star specks falling from the sky. So those actually fall periodically in one of the 4 quadrants in this room. So if you look at this room, this boss room, it's shaped like a rectangle. The stars will fall in one of the quadrants. So when you're standing, you'll notice that I'm actually standing on, if you imagine a plus sign running across the middle of the room, like across, you'll want to stand along the lines of one of those, like along one of the lines of the cross, because that way, when this white hole pops up, regardless of which quadrant, actually you can see it here. So I was standing there, right? The starfall stuff started falling. It damages you when it falls on you, by the way, I forgot to mention. Now here is where I messed up on this kill. So as you can see, luckily he was almost already dead. He has very low life points, but as I was trying to avoid the little starfall, I ran right into one of those dawn stars, and you can see how much damage it did. So you can also see, as I was mentioning before, that it ruins your chance to turn that black hole into a white hole, and you can actually see that the damage you deal is very reduced. Again, luckily for me, he was almost dead, so I didn't worry about it too much. I hope this video helped you on your first few Astalorn kills, and hope it helps you get through the rest of Elite Dungeons too. I will be posting videos on the other 2 boss fights as well, so keep an eye out for those. And if you like this kind of content, if you like this kind of guide, then like and subscribe, and maybe I'll make some more. Alright, thanks everybody. Bye.